you going to do it?
You guys all ready?
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody. We will call this meeting, the regular meeting for the City Council, City of Lathrup Village, to order. And I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Roll call, Mayor Brock,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
Here.
Councilmember Ferguson,
Present.
Councilmember Manarino Thompson,
Here.
and Councilmember Stallings.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. I would invite all of the present to join us in saying the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The agenda is, you've all seen the agenda. Do you have any, is there any additions or deletions that anybody wishes to suggest for the agenda?
None here.
If not, could we have a motion to approve the agenda as distributed?
So moved.
Second.
So moved and seconded. I'll let the city clerk decipher which who did which. I never had such eager, everybody jumping at the same time. That's good. So all those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. At this point, I'd like to just pause a minute and recognize someone in the audience. We have, this evening, we have with us our new, I'm going to ask you to step to the podium. So, put you on this is Trina Vander Ark. Did I say that right?
Yeah, perfect. Yep.
Trina Vander Ark, she is our new Parks and Recreation Coordinator, and is today, she's just completing by honoring us with her presence this evening, her first full day on the job. And
Yes.
we're delighted to have you with us. Maybe she comes to us from East Jordan?
East Jordan, Michigan, yep.
East Jordan, Michigan.
Yep.
But originally you're from this area, if I remember.
No.
Or from this general area?
Mm-mm.
No?
I'm from by East Jordan.
So
originally.
I lied about that. Okay. All right.
Where is East Jordan at?
Do you know where Charlevoix is?
Yep.
Petoskey?
Yeah,
Right
I
around
sure
there.
do.
Oh,
Yep.
nice.
Wow.
That's great.
Maybe just for
Welcome
the
aboard.
benefit of everybody, just tell us a little bit about yourself quickly. And
Okay. Recently, I was the Parks and Rec Director for the City of East Jordan for 2 years. I have a corporate health and wellness degree from Grand Valley State University, and I've been in YMCA's doing programming to working in a GM facility to municipalities, so a little bit of everything.
So how long have you been in the Parks and Rec?
15 years.
Oh, okay.
Great.
So, yeah.
How large is the city you from? Is that
East Jordan?
Yes.
We're about 3,400 people, so a little smaller than here.
a little smaller?
Yeah, population-wise. And then,
Wow.
so,
pardon?
Yeah.
Did you move to Lathrup?
actually, no. I'm actually moving to Novi, so
Oh, okay. It's close.
Sure you don't want to reconsider?
to moving here,
Yeah.
find me an apartment. I'd be
Okay.
gladly to.
All right, we'll work it out.
There you go, yeah.
We'll work it out. What do you think?
You'll go to work.
We'll
on
talk
it, by the
later.
way.
Okay.
All right.
We'll
Thank
talk
you.
Well,
later.
welcome to our
I think we can work it out.
Lathrup family, and
Glad to be here. Thank
we're
you.
looking forward to putting you right in
I'm ready.
harness and getting going on a lot of programming and so on for Parks and Rec.
And that's awesome to beat
We can
out
work
30
that out.
people. You said we had 30 resumes.
just talk to one
I
of
think
the-
that's great.
One of
Thank
the,
you.
You know,
It's good to be
condo
here.
So
owners.
congratulations and thank you for sticking through to this evening so we could all meet you.
Thank you.
And please
Welcome
should
aboard.
also note the addition to our table of the city attorney, the late city attorney, and
Better late than never. That's what I always like to say.
that's right.
Yeah,
Me too.
Depends, yeah.
We just got started, so
Will, you wanted me to do a
Man.
straw poll on that?
No, we'll just go
Just
with
let
the,
it go
with
as
the
it is,
assumption
all right.
that that's the way it goes.
All right, next on the agenda is the approval of our various minutes, or consideration thing. First was, I think was included, was the meeting minutes from the town hall meeting,
Yeah.
which was held on November 14th, 2016. I don't know if anybody wanted to venture any additions or corrections to those minutes.
I'm sorry, Scott was talking, and so I didn't hear you ask.
Scott, hold it down, please.
Yeah, he's bothering me.
can
Did
set
you
the
ask
audio.
for, are we on the town
Minutes.
hall? Minutes of the town hall?
Yeah.
Yes.
I do have a suggestion, I don't know if it's a correction, but it refers to the purpose of the meeting. I think, what more accurately would be to get input from the community regarding the future of the Village Preserve property or the House in the Woods property.
Where are you looking?
Right at the
page.
beginning of the 2 pages, it says the purpose, it says on it,
Okay.
to determine what to do with the village. She's saying it was to gather input on, from the community as to the future use of this property.
That includes the report from Sandy as well, right?
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
it describes then what, the
Yeah,
input
Sandy
was,
Johnson's report is just a few paragraphs down from that.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll change that to more accurately reflect what you said. I think that's a good point. Anybody else, any quick corrections?
I'm just,
This is,
I'm just wondering, did we come out of this meeting with some to-dos?
no.
Next
Well,
steps?
No.
Pardon
Just
me?
the one to do, couple of to-dos.
Okay,
I don't know that there was a
Determine
formal
whether or not-
listing
maybe
of
not
options.
formal, okay.
Yes, but
If it-
we have since determined several to-dos, yes.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So if there were no formal to-dos,
Okay.
I thought
No.
there were, but if there
Next
were
will be
none, I don't-
okay, all right, so should we have a
don't have
motion
any
to accept
changes
those
then.
minutes
So moved.
as corrected? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Next are the minutes of the study session, which was held also on Monday, November 21st. And at that meeting, well, you can see the list of items we covered and discussed during the study session. Are there any additions or corrections to those? If
I
not,
have one, I wasn't here. I wasn't present. It doesn't say.
oh, we didn't say you were here or not,
Right,
huh?
that's not even.
Yeah, so where it says
but typically
absent.
You say absent, so I'm
Yes,
not-
okay. All right, so we need to note that Donna was not here. Or in the vernacular, absent.
Yeah, we discussed having a beta test. And I think we identified a date, but I don't see that.
Beta test?
Beta test for the city website,
Oh, okay.
but I don't see that.
That might have been the last time.
Maybe I'm missing it, but I don't see that.
This one or the one?
Well, yeah, normally we don't record that kind of detail in the study session,
Yeah.
so if it was,
Yeah.
if we actually announced it, it would probably be announced in the next
Yeah.
meeting. So could I have a motion to accept the minutes with that one correction on
I'll make a
minutes?
motion.
Second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. Next is the regular meeting that was held on the same date of November 21st. That is the full council meeting. Is there any additions or corrections to those minutes?
Same thing, I was absent. I wasn't at,
Well, we got
Are we on the
present.
21st?
is this the one that I
Yeah,
was?
the very
No, this
first
is the
one
one that
they
was on business.
excused up on the meeting.
Pardon?
You're excused on the November 21st,
Was I excused? Okay, great.
the very first information.
Yeah, we had it, yes.
Well,
Okay.
you can have whatever.
Councilmember Stallings from this meeting.
I think she was, well, underneath the present, well, never
You
mind.
have the agenda.
That's good, though.
Yeah.
I see it. I'm fine with that. So I have no changes.
Okay. Are there any other additions or corrections?
None here.
A motion then to approve minutes of the regular meeting of November 21st.
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Next are the minutes of the study session held on December 5th. Which are really brief, as we discussed the strategic planning and set it, and set in motion setting a date for sometime in January of 2017 for our planning session. So could we please just have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
This is pretty simple, correct?
Second.
So moved and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Did you
Motion
get that?
All opposed? The motion carries. The next item is the minutes for the special meeting, which was held on that same evening of December 5th. Were you here for that meeting? Yeah, you were here. But are you listed?
She's not listed.
You're not listed.
She was absent from that meeting. That was the meeting we had in there.
I missed two.
And it's
I
the very
missed
first
one
resolution.
because of a death.
Okay.
And,
Well, we excused you. Okay,
Yeah.
it's right down there.
Yeah.
okay.
So again, we didn't have you listed under an absent column, but you were excused.
But that's two. One because of a death and the other one
Yeah,
business. Okay. I heard three.
You're forgiven.
Thank you.
You were forgiven officially.
I wish I hadn't have had to miss one.
I know.
So,
Are there any additions or other additions or corrections?
no.
Primarily was for the purpose of approving our community block grant dollars and the allocation of those.
I don't have any changes.
And then we also appointed an interim chief of police, who I should shine the spotlight on, who's sitting right down in the front row here. Lieutenant McKee, who is now our acting chief, and we appreciate your being willing to take on the additional responsibility as we move towards finalizing the appointment of new chief. Understanding you're a candidate for that as well, so we're pleased to have you with us this evening. Thank you. So are there any, if there are no additional additions or corrections to the minutes of the special meeting, do we have a motion for approval?
I make a motion.
Motion has been made. Is there a second? Second?
No second?
No second?
It's going to fail for lack of second?
All right, I'll second it. All right.
No,
All
I
those in
think Ian
favor?
did.
Ian did.
Ian
Second.
did.
I did
All
already.
those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. I was going to have the vote regardless if anybody spoke up or not. Our disbursement reports are next. The first is for a period of November 1st through the 15th of 2016, and amounts totaling $67,955.17. The second is for the period of November 16th through November 30th of 2016, in amounts totaling $454,684.71. Is there any questions or comments anybody has about the reports themselves and the detailed backup behind them? This is your opportunity to ask those questions. And if we can't answer it right this minute, we'll get back, as we usually do, to everybody with the answer to any of the questions raised.
General question. Are all of these employees, I could have asked this later, are they all salary? Are all of these admin employees salaried employees or hourly?
You mean like such as are listed here under each of these
Those-
categories? Administration,
Right here. Are these all?
Prachi, Carlton, Martin, and Talley.
Are they salaried?
They're both,
Yes.
they are both salaries and hourly.
Okay. All right.
Just classified as administration, so, okay.
Well, the police are the hourly and part-time.
Yeah. So the $33,000 number, for example, in this one report lists all the various police officers after it, that they're all hourly. And
They're hourly, but the admin, you, Carlton, Martin, Tally, are they all salary?
We all have a salary.
That was my question. Just a general question. Thank you.
Any other questions? If not, could we have a motion to
Yeah,
approve
what
the
is-
disbursement report?
Yeah, just a quick question. I don't have a line item here, so what is Uline? Uline? What is that? The vendor is Uline?
Under which category? What department?
Under, let's see here. Vantage point? No, under public safety. 301.00, public safety. Uline?
I don't have the disbursement report in front of me, but I believe it's for our evidence bags that we use. We can cut them to whatever size we need. And Uline, we use a sealer. It's a heat sealer.
Yeah.
And the strips on the heat sealer went bad, so we had to replace those.
Beach sealer?
Yeah. Heat sealing for bags, polyurethane bags.
Okay.
That's interesting.
Any other questions? If not, could we have a motion for the approval of the disbursement reports?
Make a motion that we approve it.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the disbursement reports. Is there any additional discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. At this point, it's that time on our agenda. We invite anyone in the audience who wishes to discuss items that are not listed on the agenda, and judging by the throngs out there,
Wow.
so this is your chance to be heard. Hearing no one, we will move on to our,
Let's give me an oil.
and we also have no scheduled public hearings for this evening. So we'll move on to our action request items this evening. First is the City Council will consider a motion to approve a special assessment resolution for the tentative assessment roll and to set a public hearing date. And there is a suggested resolution number 1 for that purpose included in your packet. Is there a maker of a motion for passage of that resolution?
What is resolution? Okay, so this is to add any delinquent water bills into the tax. Okay, that's an assessment. I'm sorry, I looked at this earlier, but are they How far in arrears are they before you add them onto the tax?
City year?
Yeah, 1 year?
I thought it was over a certain price.
We take all the amounts as of October 31st. Anything as of October 31st over $100 goes for special assessments. And they have up to February 28th to pay that amount off before it actually gets rolled to the taxes. And they will be getting letters sent out to them. We send out 2 sets of letters on each one.
And they're getting them, like, because you said February 1st?
28th,
Okay.
they have to be paid by.
So some letters are going out relatively soon?
Yes. Yeah, but we take the date as of October 31st as our cutoff date. So most of them haven't paid anything since last year, October or November. So that's the ones that are
You
going
said
for.
$100?
Anything over 100. Any other questions?
How does this compare with past years at this point? I mean,
It's a
the
little
final
higher
roll was
this
different,
year.
obviously.
It's a little higher this year than it's been past, but usually by the time we go to taxes, we're down quite a bit before it goes to taxes.
Good.
When you send the letters, do you also send, because there's places that people can get help if they need help. Do we know if some of them need help paying the bills, or?
A lot of the ones that need help do come in and talk to us about it. They can get on a payment plan with us, but most of them want to be on a payment plan when they come in. It's in February before the due date, and at that time, we cannot put them on a payment plan.
So when's the last time you can put them on a payment plan?
Usually we start, we try to get them on a payment plan prior to them even starting to go for special assessments. But we can't always get everybody at that time, so, and people come in and tell us that, their cases or whatever, and we'll listen to them and see what we can do. And then we also give them information about how other places that can help them in that.
Okay, that was my question, because I know we had somebody this year that came and said that there was another opportunity for people to get help.
Yep, there is.
So, but we make that known as well.
Yes, we do.
In the letter.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Pam.
You're welcome.
Did somebody move to? We don't have a motion yet for the adoption of Special Assessment Resolution Number 1. And that will set January 23rd of 2017 as the time of, here at the City Council, City of Lathrup Village, as a time and place of a public hearing for the purposes of reviewing the roll before it's placed in official, right?
That is correct.
All right. So
I'll make the motion to adopt the attached resolution and set the public hearing date for special assessments for January 23rd, 2017 at 7 p.m.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Next item is the establishment of our city council meeting dates for 2017.
Get rid of all of
We generally meet on the first and third Monday of each month, with the exception of when we are usurped by certain holidays. Those are in the cover memo from the city administrator, are mentioned there, and attached to that is the official memo from the city clerk identifying the entire list of meeting dates for the city council for both study sessions and the regular council meetings, and noting where the observed holidays are falling.
I'll make the motion to adopt the 2017 City Council meeting schedule.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. The next is the establishment of the Board of Review meeting dates for 2017. And
I make the motion to approve.
First, second, the first session being on March the 9th. March the 9th, okay.
Make the motion to approve the 2017 Board of Review meeting schedule.
is there a second?
Second.
Should note that these dates are established really by the county. So we really don't have a lot of choice about them, but we have to formally
Note them.
adopt them and publish them. I'm
Right.
sorry, what? State law, according to state law. Thank you. So it's been moved and seconded to approve the 2017 Board of Review meeting schedule. All in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Next is the item of the Crown Castle South Tower lease extension. Mr. City Attorney?
Thank you. This was, should have been an item that was discussed at the study session. I apologize for not being there, but the city for approximately 11 months now.
We're going to pause and see if we can get a positive vote to excuse you for...
From the study
never
session.
mind. Yeah. Go ahead.
This is something that the city has been, actually, the last 11 months, we've been really putting it off, but we've been approached by Crown Castle. Their lease does expire not until July of 2018, but they did want to extend that lease, and so they've proposed an addendum to a lease agreement which we all should, I provided to Andy earlier today. Everyone should have a copy of the original lease, but what they're proposing is an addendum to that lease that would extend the lease out until 2053, so they would add 7 5-year renewal terms to the existing lease. All other terms of the lease would remain the same. The incentive, I guess you could call it, that they're adding is that if this option agreement is entered into and sent back to them by tomorrow, and ultimately we work out a lease agreement that contains all these terms, that they will pay the city a one-time fee of $10,000. That's in addition to their monthly rent.
Where is the... Oh, this is under 2A?
Yeah, that's 2A is the $10,000 payment.
Okay. So we need to get this sent back promptly if we want the 10,000.
That's correct. If the city wanted to engage in this, execute this letter of intent, then yeah, that would have to be done. Action would have to be directed tonight to have that sent back tomorrow in order to preserve that opportunity.
Okay.
This has been going on since
What is the,
1998, really?
Correct. This is the initial term was lease was signed in 1998. At the time, it had 4-year renewal options.
Okay.
I believe there were 5 4-year renewals, which they've exercised all of those. Built into that lease agreement, there's a CPI increase, I believe not to exceed 5% for the monthly rental rate. So every 5 years, the rental rate per month bumps up not more than 5%, or the rate of inflation. That would carry forward with the extension.
So those terms all remain.
All
in
those
effect.
terms would remain the same. The only thing that's changing is the number of options that they have, the $10,000, and then there's also a right of first refusal that if the city were to sell that property, they'd have the option to be the purchaser of that. So
And that 5% is pretty standard?
that was something that was, my understanding is something that was negotiated at the time, but yeah. Our other, we have 2 cell tower leases. Our other cell tower lease has the same language where there's a built-in escalator.
It's consistent.
That's such a long time. I just wanted to be sure that was standard.
Yeah, that's,
And I know.
there hasn't been, at least with this go-around, there hasn't been any discussion of bumping up the baseline of the rent rate. I believe that maybe last year there was some, but there was no action, 2014 there was some discussion of it, but there was no action taken on it by council at that time. So
Okay.
So the motion would be to approve the attached Crown Castle contract for the 12-mile tower lease?
I make a motion to.
Is that the accurate?
Is that-
That's correct, yeah.
I was going to read it from here. I make a motion to approve agreement with Crown Castle to extend cell tower lease. Extended cell tower lease.
Is there a second?
I will second it, and then I have a question.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Open for discussion then.
Thank you. I hadn't noticed this because I just got it. I hadn't noticed that this is to 53, long after I'm going to be dead. But so reading through this real quickly, I'm not sure I understand. What does this exactly lock us into? I mean, if this suddenly becomes extremely valuable property, we get to increase the terms of the lease? I mean, or until 55%? We can't.
No, you would be bound by the terms of the agreement that the money rental rate could not increase. Now, you would still have the option of selling the property, but again, as I indicated, they're requesting a right of first refusal. So that if this property suddenly became valuable to a developer and the city entertained selling the property or transferring it, Crown Castle or whomever their subsequent entity that would acquire them or may acquire them at some point would have the right to purchase or at least do due diligence. I believe it's 60 days as to whether or not they would want to purchase that property.
So our only way out of this in the next, until the year 2053, is if we, were to sell the property. Absent selling the property.
Absent selling the property or a breach of the lease agreement, that would be your only way out of it.
Breach on their part.
Correct.
The question is that...
Are we satisfied those are good terms?
I don't know, why wouldn't we make it every 10
me.
years?
Yeah.
As opposed to going out to 2053?
And we have to make this decision tonight, or else we give up $10,000.
You don't have to, but that's what they're proposing. I think if they have an interest in this parcel, they have an interest in locking it up. So I think if we were to explore some additional negotiations with them, I think maybe that another dollar amount, maybe not 10,000, but certainly another dollar amount would probably could be negotiated into any sort of an extension.
I'm not sure I'm entirely comfortable with a lease going into 53. That's.
This is on our DPS property, where our DPS building is. This is where that is, that tower is.
Yeah, I'm not sure
What's wrong with every 10 years? That's my question.
Well, this looks like it was about 15 years. 98 to
1998,
now.
so it would have been 17 years.
Yeah,
like
17.
I said, it was a 20-year agreement.
And they're actually paying, from what I learned in the study session, they're paying us for the lease a certain amount, $1,400 a month.
Yeah, I would defer
like
to Andy or Pam on what they're paying per month, but I believe, it started out initially, it was $1,083 a month, and through multipliers, I think it's close to $1,500 a month right now.
Well, I would be comfortable going the amount of time that we've gone. What is it, 17, 15?
Well, it's 20 years. We had
20 years.
20-year agreement, basically.
So that's 2036.
Which is technically not up until 2018.
Okay.
But they're wanting to lock it up for a longer period now, so that's why it's in front of us at this time.
But what's the reason? I mean, they haven't had any threats of other competitors coming in and taking over the space, so...
You never know nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know. I was not involved with any of the negotiations on this, so... I do know that typically with cell tower leases, they like long-term. I can tell you that in 2014, when they did approach us last time, what they had proposed was a 99, and the mayor, and Maria probably will remember this, Kelly as well, but they proposed a 99-year lease with a lump sum payment up front, which the council said no thank you. So these are valuable pieces of property, and as the technology, this one also has a co-locator provision in it,
Yes,
which
it
is,
does.
as technology changes and improves, different carriers may want to locate on this tower. It's a good continual source of revenue for the city.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not opposed, you know, in theory. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. I am opposed to a 40-year commitment.
How many years
Because
is it they're asking?
They're asking for 35-year, total of 35 years of options.
yeah, I mean, and whenever
not
we
comfortable
tie
with that.
up,
That's truly long-range planning.
yeah, I mean, that's, and God bless them, that's a beautiful thing.
What if we stayed with what we had currently, the 20? It looks like we gave them 20 before.
We'd have between now and the end of the contract, which is another year plus
Well,
down the road.
Yeah. The only thing that you're up against tonight is that theoretically, the item they describe is a 2A. Item 2A of their proposed addendum is that
10 grand
the 10 grand
bribe.
signing bonus, you might call it. Should we call it a signing bonus?
Yeah, we can call it a signing bonus. And
But it's,
Pam may be able
is
to address the
that's-
urgency on that.
That's to be weighed against, you know, what we might consider to be a more appropriate length of contract. So, and then you roll, excuse my description, but roll the dice about whether you can get that provision put back in for a 20-year lease extension, or lease extensions of a total 20 years.
Well, you know, I don't know nothing about this, but it seems as if they are interested in locking this in because there's at least some idea that others might be interested in this.
That's my point.
Well, I think, there was an explanation I thought that they had provided to Pam as to why they wanted this done, something about players changing or...
Right now, they have certain locators on there, and if they don't lock up the locator, or if they don't get the lease out there, they might lose the locators, and we will lose the money that the locators are on there right now. They want to be able to let the locators know that they're going to have that tower, and so that the locators aren't pulling out on them, because the locators will pull out if they don't know that in a year,
Yeah,
they
I
might
don't
not
know what's
have that
magic
tower.
about 35 years, though, versus, say,
Yeah.
20.
And if
That's what we
the
counter on.
co-locators are worried the tower's not going to be there, it's because the co-locators know how valuable that is.
Yeah.
So could we renegotiate 20 for 20 years like we have now
Yeah, absolutely. I think
for the
that's-
10,000?
We will take it back to them.
Who does the negotiating?
Well, we can both do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been not here, so.
In the past, that's fine, I could do it. In the past, it was the city administrator, but we could, I'd be more than happy to give him a call tomorrow and see if we could.
Can we get a better understanding on the 20-year contract? I mean, who selected that number? I mean, are we...
Who selected the
Well,
the
because
existing
wasn't
20-year
our
contract?
wasn't it, what do they got, 5-year extensions?
Yeah.
In the current contract, and they've exercised the last one of those. So I think what somebody did here, me or, I don't know, somebody down the line here, is figure we've been giving them 5-year extensions. 4 more of those is 20 years worth. That's a long, you know, a pretty long window to offer up in exchange for...
5 years, they have 4 or 5 years, so.
Yeah, that gives them certainly a big window of opportunity, and yet it doesn't, we haven't tied the hands of council members for 35 years, you know, for the future.
And I can see why the locators would want to know, right? Because a year goes by really quick, and they want to be sure that they're, so I can understand them negotiating early.
Yeah, my goal is to slow
the
down
20.
this time.
Yeah.
But the 20
The
years.
30,
the magic
35 is
age
a
I've
bit
reached.
high. It's
The
a high number.
initial agreement, I think, to answer your question, this was, at the time, it was Jeff Bremer was the city administrator then. Jeff Mueller was the assistant city administrator. They were the players involved with the initial, and Matt Quinn,
That's
my
right.
predecessor, were
That's correct.
negotiating this initial agreement. And as Pam points out, this agreement includes the co-locator, which when we entered this agreement, it was negotiated directly with AT&T. At the time, carriers did their own towers. Now
Right.
we're getting away from that. You have private companies that are hosting these carriers' towers for them. And the trend now, as you've seen with, what's their name?
Horvath.
Horvath, thank you, is that these third parties do not want to include co-locator fees to the host
Right.
as part of their lease.
I think there's a lot.
So there's certain
right.
value in
Those are the
extending this
reasons I think we
existing
just as soon
contract.
have an agreement with this outfit, but the question is 20 years versus
30,
some longer
35.
period.
Well, because they're changing now on towers too, is they're, like he said, like Horvath and that, they're not giving us the locator fees that we're getting now. And a lot of them just want to pay you a $30,000 upfront, that's it for 25 years, 30 years, that's it. And to get a locator, or to get a tower.
Who's on that thing now, do we know?
On this tower right now, I think is,
We have AT&T's on there. I want to say we get Sprint Nextel,
and Verizon.
and we get 3 checks from that tower.
Do we? Okay.
Yes, at this time we're getting 3 checks.
Okay. So this is actually 7 renewal terms of 5 years each. What happens at the end of that 5-year period? They get to renew, we don't get to terminate.
Correct, I believe there's a.
What do
they
you
have
mean,
to
at the end of the 5-year?
What this really is calling for is 7
5
terms,
years, yeah.
5 years each.
Nowadays.
What
Right,
happens
but
at
I
the
don't
end of those
agree with
5
the
years?
35.
Does either party get an opportunity to either renegotiate or terminate?
No, it's just, it would be an exercising of the right and an increase of the rent consistent with the CPI.
Okay, except they have the right to terminate at any time for any reason without damages. So we're bound, they're not.
Should be a mutual.
Or
That's number 7.
there should be some payment if they
Yeah,
opt
if
out
they
early.
if they opt out early.
I mean, if we're going to commit to, the next 35 years, I mean, it seems as if we ought to have some rights.
Yeah.
I agree. I really do.
15% sounds reasonable of the total within the 35 if they opt out early.
There is a 6-month termination by the landlord provision. In here, at the end of the term, the landlord can terminate with 6 months' notice.
The landlord, so we can
So
terminate.
we can terminate, and if we do not terminate, then it will automatically continue.
Wait, now where's that? I didn't see that in here.
That's in the original agreement.
It's not in the one Maria has.
That's
No, the one Maria has is just the piece.
That's just a
that-
letter of intent.
Yeah, yeah.
With what it was.
You're talking about the
included.
original one that
So
you
what-
sent out?
Well, because the letter of intent here, it doesn't say anything like that. What it does say is,
That's the
notwithstanding anything contrary, lessee has the
No,
right
this
to
is-
terminate.
This is not
Complete
the
right.
original.
Right,
those
I
are-
have the
Terminate
interest.
those
I'm
are
for
trying
any
to get to
reason
here
at
with
any
you.
time.
Yeah, those are just the modifications to the existing, everything in the existing document will come forward, and the additional changes will be included.
So we do have the right to terminate with 6 months' notice?
Correct, under the original lease agreement, we do have.
Wait a minute, 6 months notice before the end of that 5-year period.
Correct.
So we have to be on it so we can't terminate before that, but 6 months before that 5-year period, we can terminate. That's good.
Well, what they're doing is protecting themselves by saying, you got to tell us.
Right,
At
and
least 6 months before the end of the term,
And it's that
that you're
kind of
not going
industry.
to do that. huh?
It is that kind of industry that they have to, they have
And
to
they have
be
no
concurrent.
consequences if they terminate early?
Not according to number 7 of the letter of intent.
I mean, according to the contract, because it's slightly different than what we have.
Well, item 7 says that
Yeah. Lease has
the
a
leasee
complete
has the right to terminate this letter agreement, this letter.
Oh, just the letter of intent, not the
for
contract.
any or no reason prior to the full execution of the lease amendment.
Okay, all
Without
right.
damages. So
All right.
it's really
That's not the-
pertaining
that's
only to
not
this
the-
letter, not to
Okay.
the contract.
But the letter of intent is tied to that contract.
Yeah.
So the original contract does have some protection in it?
Yeah, the original contract does have, if the tenant is to terminate, they have to pay a 6-month rent, equivalent to 6-month rental. So if they were to terminate their agreement.
They pay 6 months. And if we want to terminate, we can, we just have to give them 6 months' notice.
At the end
Well, you know, okay. I feel better knowing that there's some kind of protection in the contract. Now that, you know.
So we can terminate even if someone wants to come and,
That's why
And
we
more
paid
money.
the city attorney the big bucks to look out for that for us.
okay.
He was late, so I'm trying to keep
So
him on
prior
his
to
toes.
our approval, according to 7, they can terminate the letter of intent prior to our approval. That's
Correct.
what that means.
Okay, all righty.
Can we take
So
it off
you're
the
okay
table? Can we take this off the table and maybe discuss the duration?
Or
Well,
we can take,
it's on the table, and you can discuss it.
We already moved it to get approved, but
Right.
is there a way we can back it?
All you-
by not
All you
voting.
have to do is offer a proposed amendment to the motion.
And can we do that before the voting on the motion as?
This is a healthy part of the exchange.
Okay. Well, you know what? If we have the right to back out with 6 months' notice, I say take their money.
Yeah,
I just
I'm okay
don't
with it
feel
too.
comfortable with the 35 years.
But you can always, if we have a reason to, we can always come out of that contract. We can come out
But
of
why
it,
go into it when you could adjust it now? That's question.
$10,000.
because it may be
Oh.
okay. I mean, it's been okay for 20
10,000?
years.
Well, but you're providing,
We dropped 20 somewhere along the line, so.
It's been okay for 20 years. And we can always get out of it. So I was really stunned with that 2050. It just is 53 too, but I'm okay with it.
My
but
guess
you
is
do
that-
have an escape
Yeah.
valve
Yeah, there-
every
Well,
5 years.
And there's no
Yeah.
issue, I mean, if the pleasure of the council is to open the negotiations back up, or really, this has not, like I said, this has not been something that's been actively negotiated with, so by saying reopen negotiations with them, we have no issues doing that. I will say that it's, the shorter the term likelihood is the lower the upfront payment would be. But that's just, would be speculation on my part. The longer the term, the higher the upfront payment.
Well,
And on
let's
the other
see.
hand, we can ask for $2,000 more.
And we'll be paying our attorney that to
We
negotiate.
can ask for $12,000, yeah. If it's that high,
Divided by, how many, this is the 35-year extension?
$1,000 a year.
Yeah, it's.
They need us more than we need them. I mean, it's common sense.
Okay, so what do we do? Because
What are you advising, city attorney?
I would, I
I'll
mean,
go
I would
against it.
advise to enter into the extension, sign the letter of intent. If it's something that we can't work out, then we could come back. I mean, at some point, they're not going to walk away from the tower. If the negotiations fall apart on this letter of intent, we can renegotiate, sign a new letter of intent. And the upfront payment may not be $10,000, but I would suspect there would still be some form of an upfront payment.
But
I think it would be, this is important to them.
you divide the 10,000 by 35 years.
$350 a year.
Yeah, but it's really
It's just a,
it's nothing.
yeah, I agree.
It's nothing, so I don't,
I mean, that's not really what's selling me, the 10,000. That's not selling me.
I feel
And you're getting the
more comfortable
10,000.
Yeah.
You're getting the 10,000 payable immediately. It's not payable over 35
right, I
years.
understand that.
I think we can get more.
Yeah, but it depreciates if you're going to 35 years. It's what that number is.
So, you're recommending that we go with it for now?
The original amount was only like 7,000, and they brought it up to 10,000.
Like I said, they need us more than we need them. So,
So your recommendation is that we go with this, sign the letter of an agreement, or what is your recommendation?
That would be my recommendation, would be to approve the motion as it's been proposed.
I make a motion that we go back to the negotiating table and adjust the.
Well, there's already a
There's
motion
a
on the
motion on the
table.
table already.
Can't put another
Okay.
one. You can propose an amendment to the motion.
I propose an amendment to renegotiate the lease terms, not exceeding the 35 years, maybe adjust it to 20.
Is there a second of the amendment?
Is there a second to the amendment?
I mean, that just sounds like a rejection of the original motion. I mean, I don't,
Well, it changes the intent of the regular motion, that's for sure, yes. But there is no second, so it does not, it dies for lack of a second. So the question before the group then is to approve the attached Crown Castle contract for the 12-mile cell tower lease.
So Ian you wanted to just renegotiate the years to
Yes.
20, like it is now,
Yeah.
like it currently is.
I will add the Crown Castle, or the Horvath proposal for the new tower, their upfront payment was $3,000 down. So significantly less than what Crown Castle's offering.
For how many years?
Whose offer was that?
That's
That was
for
Horvath, the T-Mobile
The
on
ones that wants to put the one
Yep.
here?
Yep.
that was also,
Put it
that
right
was
next to
that was a 30-year lease. that
Lieutenant
they were
McKee's
proposing.
office? Yeah. Which he would heartily like to see outside his window.
And that 3,000 was payable over 2 years.
Wow. And this 10,000 is upfront, and we have 6
Right.
months to cancel.
Call the questions. We'll call the question. The
original
original
motion,
motion is to approve the attached Crown Castle contract for the 12-mile cell tower lease. And I'd ask the clerk if she would call the roll.
Roll call, Mayor Brock,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Garrett,
Yes.
Councilmember Ferguson,
No.
Councilmember Manarino Thompson,
yes.
and Councilmember Stallings.
Yes.
Motion carried.
The motion has been carried. Moving on then to item E. I think we effectively,
Yes, I would like to withdraw my,
yeah, well, do we withdraw item E? I should have taken this off. We should have taken it. Excuse me, when we approved the agenda, because we made some changes to how we were going to handle this, so we will move on to item F. The department reports were included in your packet. Is there a motion to accept the departmental reports?
That's the one thing I didn't see. Do I have that? I don't think so.
Farmers market is over.
Farmers market is officially over, though we have a truck, food truck rally, and there is a market combined with that, is there not?
Wednesday.
On this coming Wednesday. It's not part of the farmers market routine, but it's a separate item, begins at 4 o'clock and runs till 8, is it? Yeah.
On
It's
this
similar to what we
Wednesday?
did with the
Yeah,
food truck
8:30.
rallies before. The food trucks will be outside, but there will be provisions for people to eat inside so that they will only be half frozen.
And inside
Hello.
vendors also.
And there's
Right.
inside vendors selling other types of wares for the holidays. So.
That's
Okay?
just this Wednesday?
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
this Wednesday, the 21st, is it?
And there'll be music
Music, yes, indeed.
and dancing.
The motion is to accept the department, what, do we have a motion? to accept the departmental reports?
I make a motion that we accept the departmental reports.
Is there a second?
Oh, second.
It's been moved and seconded. I would then say, does anybody have any questions about about any of the reports? This is your opportunity to ask those, and we'll try and answer them accordingly. Hearing done. All those in favor of the motion, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The motion carries. Going on to item 9, City Administrator has submitted a report wishing us all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Are there any supplemental comments you want to make about your report, Mr. City Administrator?
I have nothing to add.
Anything
other
to
than
add?
My report.
Does anybody have questions for the City Administrator?
Oh, no.
All right. City Attorney, do you have items of legal interest for us this evening?
Legally, I'd like to wish you all a happy holidays and a very safe holiday season.
And that's legal, you're sure?
Yeah, legally, so you can legally have a happy holiday now.
All right. Is there any unfinished or new business to come before us this evening?
I have a question. We talked about the lighting on Southfield Road, didn't we? The business, we were going to put some type of ordinance in place that you couldn't put all those lights.
Yeah, we did discuss some prohibitions extending to the rope lighting that
Yes.
businesses have placed around the tree. We do have a draft ordinance that could be brought back to council. That was prepared as part of the planning commission. And it's never made it onto a council agenda.
So are they ready to make a recommendation?
Yeah, no, it was, because it would be under the recommendation from my office and the planner's office was to put it into the police power ordinance, not a zoning ordinance, so it wouldn't actually come
so
from the
it's-
planning commission. So the ordinance has been prepared. We do have it. It's something that
So-
could either come up on the next
Council's
agenda.
would you want that on the next agenda?
I would.
Okay.
And then was there another ordinance that we were talking about these huge trucks that are parking and making signs up and down Southfield Road? We talked about trying to do something with that as well.
I believe, are you,
The
commercial
business trucks?
vehicles?
The
Like city-
business trucks,
Yeah,
the
there-
commercial vehicles that are
Yeah, there's,
just...
that's an ongoing issue. I mean, not a new issue. That's something that's come up in the past. Our sign ordinance regulates, our current sign ordinance regulates expressive speech on a vehicle as much as it legally can. I thought the discussion was, and the resolution was that it's an enforcement issue at this point.
Well, one of the things I'm particularly concerned about, and I brought this up, I think, at study session, is that huge truck that's parked in front of the computer store. Now, I really don't care that it has a sign on it advertising the suit store. I think where it is parked, especially with all these huge snowbanks out there, is a safety issue. I mean, I have been, you know, I go there through that area frequently, and you can't maneuver around that truck and those snowbanks. It's ridiculous. It's right at the, you know where it is. I'm looking at Scott.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's a safety issue.
Well, when you bring it up with the snowbanks, I believe it really is. So that's definitely something we can look at. I mean, I know that the trucks have been an issue for a while, and we've spoken with Jim Wright about it and trying to figure out what we can do legally. But I think when you add in the winter season and the snowbanks, I definitely think it probably...
There's no
takes it
question you can
to
deal with
another
them
level.
under the
Sure.
safety issue, sure.
Yes.
And because, you know, I do go through that way frequently, that huge truck hanging out, you know, into the lane is an issue. And then when you go through the alleys, too, because of the snowbanks in the alleys and the people who park in the alleys behind their businesses, I mean, you can't maneuver through the alleys either. You know, I just, you know, I understand all these concerns,
They make a
but,
mess,
you know,
don't
at some point, it really
no
becomes a
choice.
safety
Right.
issue.
Well, there's a safety and there's an, what's that fancy word, aesthetic issue as well, but definitely a safety issue. But I'm just seeing more and more trucks, more and more vans advertising. And with that, with the lights and all of this stuff, it's just making everything look, it cheapens, you know, our community.
I understand that. I mean, the issue with regulating is that these vehicles, if they're moving them on a daily basis, that's the problem.
Yes, they
We
are.
can't control the content of what people put on their vehicles, but if they're parked in one spot for more than, I believe it's 24 hours, then we treat it as a sign and we can regulate it as a sign. But if it's a movable vehicle, we can't really regulate what print they put on the side of their vehicle.
But for safety issues, we can. I mean, we can't park on streets when the plows are coming through.
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah,
you
based
know.
on where he's parked, again, with the addition of the snowbanks, I think it's definitely something we can take a look at.
Okay, thank you.
Is there a height limit on how high a van can park in a driveway, a residential driveway? Because you have the new vans now that are really high. They're not the typical, the vans. Is there a limit?
In a commercial, area, or are you talking about in a driveway?
In a
as
driveway.
Like a residential driveway?
Yes.
Well, there are certainly
You can't park,
ordinances.
yeah, you can't have
Can't
a
do a
commercial
RV.
vehicle in a residential area parked overnight, but if it's a residential or vehicle that's just tall,
Yeah, it's pretty big.
I don't know that there's any, not to my knowledge.
As long as there's no signage on it.
Yeah, if
That-
it's a commercial vehicle, even if it doesn't have signage on it, if it's pretty evident that it's a commercial vehicle,
Okay. So
those,
that's
we
what
have
I-
ticketed those in the past, and that would be
Look
a
at the
an
plate number
enforcement.
then. I'm done.
Anybody else? Hearing none. I have no correspondence to report. So if there's no additional business to come before this meeting, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
So moved and second to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. The meeting is adjourned. Thank you all for being here.